Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. Today we are here to talk about Premier League, of course. As we discussed last time, we're going to be talking in depth about what's happening in the Premier League because a lot has happened. A lot of teams have been faring up pretty well in the Premier League from what it was, what we predicted at the start of the season as well. For the surprise, you have the North London clubs in the top three. You have Manchester City in the second position. You have Brighton of Albion, who's doing pretty well as well. Anahat joining me. Anahat, how has the Premier League been so far? And after the end of the game week four, a lot has happened because a lot of topsy-turvy games, a lot
Yeah,
of
I think
players have performed as well.
absolutely. I think Arsenal again, continuing their run at the top of the table with another win, 100% record, which is very surprising this season. And again, City coming back with a fantastic win against Crystal Palace, Erling Haaland hat-trick. It was sooner than expected. I was sure that Haaland would score a hat-trick in his debut season, but I wasn't expecting it so soon. So that's great again. Harry Kane, breaking records, setting records for single player, most goals scored by single player. So a lot of things happening, as you said rightly.
Yeah.
Even United, breaking their jinx of the away record and finally getting a clean sheet away from home. So yeah, a lot of things happening, and even excited for the next game week. Some transfers coming up. Callum Hudson, although he is gone on loan to Leverkusen,
Yeah.
we've got some good transfers happening as well with Anthony almost coming into Man United. I think it's almost done according to Fabrizio Romano at least. So yeah,
Yeah.
lots to discuss.
Absolutely. Let's pull the table first up, right, for the viewers out here. Let's see how the table stands. And I'm a little surprised that Arsenal have been doing so good. Like as you mentioned, it's brief, but what has been that key factor for them to actually make this season into the season which they dreamt of? Because four wins out of four, top start out there. Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard. The unit has clicked pretty well, right, for them. And also, let's not forget even having someone like Tomiyasu injured initially, they've really come up. And William Saliba has been a huge boost for him. Such a good ball playing centre back out there. He's coming off a very good loan stint in Marseille as well. So, what has really helped them to click this season?
I think, of course, Arteta has been great. You see the backstage, the Arsenal documentary as well, the kind of manager he is, always motivating the players, always being very tough on them with, uh, even for like small things like personal duels, aerial duels, not winning 50-50s. I think we have already someone with Man United for the title, which I think the way Erling Haaland is going, I would be surprised if anyone would come close to City, because I think even going 2-0 down, uh, you know, so early on in the season didn't stop them from like decimating Crystal Palace in the second
Yeah.
half. So I think, in the first half itself. So I don't know if United can win the title. Of course, with Anthony coming in, and they've been linked with Gakpo as well. So I think if that Cody Gakpo, they're able to sign Cody Gakpo, I think it'll be even better. He's
Yeah.
got like 25 goal involvements last season for PSV. So a lot of work to do still for Man United. We saw how they started the season. It was quite terrible. So, anything can happen in football. So I'm not very sure about United taking the title. But
Yeah.
I would really be looking forward to them at least, trying to give it a tough fight.
Let's talk about now. You did mention about City there, but let's talk about Tottenham Hotspurs, right? Because at the start of the season, we all expected them to have a very good season, but the kind of start they've got, it just shows like the mentality is right there. With Antonio Conte, one thing he did is his system, his philosophy is very evident. The mentality is something which he really pushes for, and you saw it in the preseason games as well. And they've got that squad depth as well. Are they going to be serious contenders for the season? Because I know it's still very early on in the season. Anything can happen
Absolutely.
after the
Of
World
course.
Cup and before the World Cup as well. So, what can really go wrong? What can really happen to this team now going ahead into the season?
Yeah. It's really hard, as you said, to predict what will happen to the end of the season, because we do have a major tournament in between, the World Cup, and our players will be going to, play in very different conditions with different styles of football. So I don't know how they'll be settling in, coming back after the break. So that's something that we'll need to look out for. But as you said, with Spurs, I think Antonio Conte defensively, they've improved a lot under him. Uh,
Yeah,
and also Harry Kane, Heung-min Son finding their partnership. and now with all the signings, Kulusevski, and even Perisic giving in those assists. So I think Tottenham really, as you said, they are contenders this season, and it's exciting to see. With so many teams challenging for the top, even Arsenal have started so positively. Spurs, besides Liverpool and Man United, I think all the other teams have started really, really well. I mean, again, United trying to get back on track. Again, Liverpool with a 9-0 win over Bournemouth, which was absolutely fantastic. I mean, even without a single goal contribution from Mo Salah, um, we had 9 goals uh, coming in that game. I mean, fantastic. Bobby Firmino with a hat trick of assists and a couple of goals again. So I think Liverpool have made a big statement with a record equaling win over Bournemouth. And as you see, Scott Parker, immediately we have the first sacking as well this season with
Absolutely,
Scott
absolutely. There's a
Parker
new team
departing
coming.
ways with
Yeah,
Bournemouth.
yeah, I mean Bournemouth. I mean the kind of start they've had 9-0, 4-0 to City. I mean you were expected that coming. That was just sheer dominance from Liverpool. It was like a game of FIFA, I would say. If you're playing an amateur level, that's what you get. And they just didn't turn up to the ground, isn't it? At the end of the day, because Liverpool they're raging after the loss to United. We'll talk about Liverpool, but let's also delve into Brighton of Albion because Brighton of Albion has been under the Potter. He's been doing pretty well because if you look at the start they got against United, the kind of football they played, they lost some of the big players in Kukurea, they lost Bissouma, but still with the kind of player like McAllister, Castillo, they've really pulled out a very good season so far, isn't it?
Even Pascal Gross has been great for Brighton, and they've started very well this season. But I don't know how long they'll be able to sustain this kind of run. A team like Brighton, we'll have to wait and watch. I think it's too soon to say anything right now about a team like Brighton.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments. एशिया कप के लिए क्या फिक्स है आपका? उमंग definitely एशिया कप के लिए हम बात करेंगे, but we'll come to that later on. Yeah, but we've got some people joining in from all across, So, did Scott Parker deserve to be sacked?
I think
Yeah, good
Premier
question.
League, it's very tough for managers as we can see. I mean, Scott Parker, he tried his best, but I mean, conceding around 15, 16 goals in just the first 3, 4 games, I think it's really not done in a in a league like Premier League. And Bournemouth, they have to do whatever they can. I mean, they had Eddie Howe, and you've seen, what kind of eye for managerial talent Bournemouth has. They got Eddie Howe, and Eddie Howe was absolutely exceptional. See how well he's doing at Newcastle. So I'm sure, Bournemouth must have something planned by sacking Scott Parker.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing in football is that you give managers a long rope, but then when you don't get results and when you get humiliated, the club board doesn't
And you
really
have to
require.
score goals. It's okay if you're losing games, but Scott Parker, they don't have a single goal in this campaign under Scott Parker. So there's nothing for the fans to see either. So I think it's very important for teams to be scoring goals, if not winning games. If not, then I think the manager. I mean, you have to look for some new leadership.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's go into the other part of the table, right? Before we go further in the life. But before that, I want to know your initial thoughts. Who has really impressed you when it comes to the top three teams? Which player really stands out for you from that?
I think Erling Haaland, of course, the way he played, it was absolutely. I mean, all 3 goals were absolutely top class. The first header, what a ball by Phil Foden, and what a fantastic header. He's what a
Yeah.
complete striker is Erling Haaland. I mean, the more you speak about him, you can't do justice to the way he plays. At 22 years old, I mean, so strong again. With towering with the headers and then holding off 2 defenders with that hat trick goal. What a fantastic goal! I mean, he held off 2 defenders and he gave himself enough time to just slot the ball in the corner. Fantastic work, by Erling Haaland. And even Bernardo Silva, as you can see, he's been really well. Started really well this season again. No one talks about Bernardo Silva, but I think he's right there with Kevin De Bruyne when it comes to creativity. Uh, and he plays for his teammates. So I think
Yeah.
we have another question.
I mean, yeah, Rahul is asking as well, Rodrigo keep up his good form. Just another,
Absolutely, with Leeds.
sorry, just another thing. I mean, it's tough to say at this. at this point, right? It's still very early on the season, but I think Rodrigo, he's got it in him. Is for me is one of the best. I'm thinking he's talking about this Rodrigo from City.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
no,
sure.
no, no. Rodrigo from Leeds. So of
Oh,
course,
Rodrigo from
I
City.
mean,
Yeah,
Leeds have
that's correct.
started really well
Yeah,
this season. But Rodrigo, I mean, he scored so many goals already, and he's good with the assists as well. But with mid-tier clubs, it's really, really tough to say how long they can sustain these kind of pressures. And Leeds, I don't think they've had any big games, so it remains to be seen
yeah,
how they'll do. Against when they play more against the big clubs and even consistently. So
yeah.
I think, of course, Gabriel Jesus as well. Uh, playing really, really well, settled really, really well at the Arsenal side.
Absolutely. I'm from Abu Dhabi, a huge city fan. I think World Cup's going to may affect the team. Yeah, it's a point to be noted over here, right? Because this year or this particular season, we're going to be having Champions League games every week until the start of the World Cup. So that's going to be very interesting. We're going to be having a Premier League on a Sunday, and your team is going to be playing on a Wednesday, and again on a Saturday and Sunday, we're going to keep playing until the start of the World Cup. So how much is it going to affect teams who does
Absolutely.
not have
I
a
think
squad depth?
depth,
For example,
this
City
is
does
where
have.
depth is going to come into play. With all these Champions League games and World Cup break, I think this season, squads with good depth, I think, will be doing much, much better. So that's a concern right there, for teams like Liverpool, because, I mean, though they have a great starting lineup, I don't think they have the depth that it takes. Of course, they scored 9 goals, so I mean, they can prove me wrong any day. But I think, teams with lesser depths in the squad will find it quite hard this season, with all the
Absolutely.
tournaments and the amount of games being played
I mean,
in
let's
such a
pull out
quick
the teams post
succession.
top four at this point, right? Two other teams were right there. Leeds, yeah, Leeds have had a great start of the season. They've gone on to win against Chelsea. That was a huge win for them. Newcastle United, and as we expected them to have a very good season, they're up there in the Conference League position at this point. United have made a resurgent comeback after being 2-0, two games down, and they won 2 on a draw. The momentum is right there. Liverpool, after a
Mm.
loss against United, came back quite heavily by scoring 9 against Bournemouth, as we discussed. So this is how the standings look like. Let's talk about Leeds first up. Leeds was a team who was written off by many of them at the start of the season. We didn't expect them to even get sacked, but then so far it's been pretty good. The high press football, they took Chelsea by surprise. They're right up there. You reckon this particular season they can actually maintain this form consistently? Because you saw that even in the 2021-2022 season, right? They were there, but they were not quite
Absolutely.
there. Even in the season when they made a comeback in the Premier League, they took everybody by surprise. But towards the middle of the season, they really lost the plot. Injuries started coming in. Squad depth was tested. Can they actually maintain consistency? Because in Premier League, with the demand of FA Cup, you have EFL, then you have also World Cup this year. It's going to be a huge challenge for them.
Yeah, I think they started the season really well. Win over Wolves at home, and then against Southampton they got a draw, and then the big win against Chelsea. But as you can see, again they've dropped points against Brighton. They've lost 1-0 to Brighton. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how they do. Again, Rodrigo has been really good. Dan James is in excellent form as well. He's got attracting interest from big clubs now, like even Tottenham was reportedly interested in signing Dan James. So he's exciting to see his pace. So yeah, I think Leeds have been started the season fairly well, but it's very, very early to say if they can make any major impact this season in the
Absolutely.
table.
But
But I think Chelsea, on the other hand, Raheem Sterling finally scoring 2 goals with his first brace for Chelsea. I
hmm,
think that's a good start for him again. A couple of goals early on in the season. So remains to be seen. And even Kai Havertz,
I mean, for
providing good
Chelsea, do you
assists.
still reckon that they can be content for top four? Because for the liking, firstly, they not have a striker until now, and secondly, that defensive line is still rule about Wesley Fofana for a mammoth amount for 75 million. That's one of the highest paid defenders right now in the Premier League. Now, after that, now they're going to be up against like someone like when they actually playing against Spurs as well, you saw the defense is shaky. Reece James is taking a lot of workload as well. Can they actually compete for top four? Because it is not like other seasons, right? The midfield is also a problem because Jorginho, after 2021 season, hasn't really come up because if he's playing as a single pivot, he can't really handle as well. He needs a cover shadow or he needs to be playing in a double pivot system with N'Golo Kante as well. So are Chelsea really contending for top four, or can they really come, or is it going to be one of the season where they're going to finish in five, six, or seven?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Chelsea this season. They'll have to compete really hard. I mean, early on in the season, Koulibaly seeing a red card, but it'll be a nice reminder for them. And I think Timo Werner still, he has a point to prove. So I think given enough game time, this is the season. I think when Chelsea will finally see Timo Werner scoring some
But Timo
goals.
Werner has gone back to Leipzig, right? So they not have Timo Werner as well. So that's the major issue with them. Timo Werner has gone back to Leipzig.
Right,
So
right.
Timo Werner has
Timo
gone back.
Werner moved back to RB Leipzig this summer.
Yeah, he's pretty happy there, and that's one thing. Uh, we have a question on United. I mean, many United questions here. Thoughts on 100 million being splashed on Anthony? I mean, for my liking, I really enjoy watching Anthony. He's such a good player. You saw him with Ajax, and he's going to be back or working with Eric Ten Hag as well. Because now, if you look in this system which Eric Ten Hag has been building, with the time he's been given, I think he's certainly building a squad which is quite impressive. As a United fan, you can tell better, but then Anthony fits in perfectly, right, in that particular role of a right winger, and maybe Jadon Sancho can move to the left, which he actually played for Dortmund as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Anthony has been excellent for Ajax on the right wing over the years. He's got pace, he's got skill, and every time he looks like a threat for fullbacks and defenders. So he's really fast. And also very young, just 22 years old. So I think he has his whole career and his chemistry with Ten Hag. He's already knows the manager and the playing style. So I
Mhm.
think it's a great signing for United. But again, Premier League not easy. So he's not the most strongest of players, Anthony, and he's not the tallest of players. But for a winger, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But it remains to be seen if he can take the tackles and take the rough style of play in the Premier League. So
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and watch. I think 100 million by this day is I mean, it's not a steal of a deal, but it's not crazy expensive. The kind of players you've seen. I mean, Wesley Fofana going for around 80 million pounds. So I think it's crazy this transfer market. And I think I am personally very excited as a United fan to see Anthony. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Newcastle, we have Rahul thinking if Newcastle can win a Champions League
I
spot. I
mean,
think it's very
it's
tough.
tough, right? It's very tough at this very point. It's very tough to predict if Newcastle can make. But I'm pretty sure they can make it to Europe. Like
Europa.
maybe it could be Europa, like it could be Conference League, but they're definitely going to Europe for sure. Looking at their form, I love their game against City, man. I mean, they had City on the mat. If not for that comeback, they could have actually pulled out one of the best wins of the season. That was one hell of a game which they put up against City, but really showed mentality as well. Their Trippier has been in top form with Gimenez. Oh man, I mean, I expected them to sign Paqueta as well when Paqueta has gone to West Ham. If Paqueta also would have joined Gimenez, Gimenez and Paqueta has been playing since childhood. I expected that duo to actually rejoin because they also play in Lyon together. Unfortunately, they're not rejoining. But yeah, that's how it goes until now. If you have another question, who are you supporting in? Well, I'm supporting Manchester City. I'm a huge City fan, so I'll keep supporting them. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the season, but yeah. Uh, Also, Chelsea is chasing Fofana from Leicester for the same price. Hey, your thoughts on that, Anahad? Because last couple of times the Leicester defenders going to another big Premier League club, it has not really turned out well. Can Fofana be a change for the Vikings?
I don't know. I'm not really sure, but nowadays midfielders have become so expensive. It's quite hard to find good midfielders. I'm not sure Fofana is, worth 80 million plus. But as we just discussed earlier with Anthony as well, with these transfers, you can't really, you know, predict. But I think 80 million is a bit much for Fofana. It's not worth it, of course,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
way
it
he's
just
played.
looks like another Harry Maguire, and if he has a bad season there, things can turn ugly
That
very
would be a
quick.
bit of an overstatement because Harry Maguire is really, obnoxious. I mean,
I mean,
absolutely horrible.
I mean, when he
So
came to
I
United,
don't
people
think
did
Fofana is
actually.
that bad, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, it remains to be seen if he's worth 80 million.
I mean, yeah, it is tough at this point, but there's a lot of expectations also, right? When you're playing for Leicester, but when you're going to a bigger club, the expectations of the fans, the huge boots you have to fill, there's going to be a direct swap for someone like a Rudiger. And Rudiger has done great things for Chelsea, helping them to actually claim the Champions League as well. So it's not easy boots to fill for someone like a Wesley Fofana. He's still very young, 19-year-old. He's coming off a huge injury as well, so it's not going to be easy for him to actually go and drive there. But his stats for the Lightning is pretty impressive. He's compared to someone like a Van Dijk in terms of his technical ability, in terms of his interception rate, in terms of his ball playing skill as well. So can that really impact? Can that really add on to Chelsea? Because Chelsea right now with Edouard Mendy not being one of the best goal playing goalkeeper, they need someone to actually cover shadow who can actually carry the ball forward as well. Can Wesley Fofana be one of them?
I don't, I think, yeah, I mean, Fofana has been good. He's been good on the ball as well, strong, sturdy figure. So I think Chelsea, I mean, as you already said it, that they do need, because Mendy lacks in ball playing. So they do need a player like that. But I don't know. They still, Chelsea, I think they have a lot of work to do this season, especially without the main number nine. Uh, we've got Bakayoko.
I mean, I definitely think someone should buy Bakayoko back to Chelsea. I mean, what a season did you have, Bakayoko? I'm pretty sure you impressed a lot of Chelsea fans and they never want to see your name again. But yeah, that's a different story altogether. Yes, you can carry on.
No, so I mean, I'm really looking forward to next game week as well. I mean, big prizes. I'm gonna create my team on Boomer 11 as well, and yeah, of course, let's talk about Virgil van Dijk. Uh, of course, we've seen a drop in form. Virgil van Dijk, he's not going out there to make those tackles,
Hmm.
as we saw in the draw as well.
Yeah.
So I think Van Dijk needs to improve the
And I
whole
have an interesting
fiasco.
question over here. Do you think defenders and a lot of players are going to actually play a little more lightly at the start of this mid-season because of the World Cup ahead? They don't want to really commit themselves a lot more because the intensity might not be as high as what you see in the other seasons at the start of the season because of the World Cup ahead. It's definitely there at the back of the mind. You saw for example, Aguero telling to Otamendi not to challenge Messi in the Champions League. So these things do play a part in the mind, right? Especially for someone like Van Dijk. We do not know if he's carrying a niggle as well. So he doesn't want to aggravate it, considering Netherlands are going to play a World Cup after 2014 because they missed out on 2018 World Cup as well. So it's a huge moment for them. They'll not play the Euros as well.
Yeah, but I also think that at the end of the day, it's about winning every game and giving 100% in every tackle and trying to win the ball every 50-50 without caring for your own well-being. So I think many players do that still, and I've seen some of the games with really really high tempo, really high intensity. So I think Premier League is really really fun to watch for yet another season. I don't think that early days, but still at this time, I don't think that the fear of injury for the World Cup or anything of that sort has affected the players, because I personally find the games very entertaining, and
I mean, it's been a
as
very
I
good
said,
season. It's been one of the most open seasons, right? You not know
right.
who's going to really finish top four because all the teams are right up there. Because what some teams showed at the start of the couple of matches, it has turned out. For example, United now they look like a team who can actually go on to do a lot more. They've benched someone like Ronaldo, they've benched Harry Maguire, they've got a new defensive partnership. Eric Ten Hag has a very good plan and a philosophy which is set as well. A very good question there. Can Dubravka actually replace David De Gea? Because if you talk about David De Gea, his ball playing skills are again questioned because in an organized system like Ten Hag system, right? He has someone like Onana who actually starts the transition, right? He starts from the back, then he passes to Lisandro, who's right there. From Lisandro, it goes to a defensive midfielder. Now you have a Casemiro, who's a decent ball progressor as well. So can Dubravka be that player who's going to really bring in the change in between the
Personally, I
beginning?
think De Gea, I think personally right now, especially since the arrival of Lisandro Martinez, who plays the ball so well, I don't think United are in need of such a great ball playing goalkeeper. I mean, of course, they do need a backup goalkeeper with Henderson out. So I think Dubravka, even if he comes to United, I'm sure at least this season and even I think the next season, better part of next season, I don't think he'll be replacing David De Gea. But I think United do need a replacement keeper, and with as you said, Casemiro and even Lisandro Martinez, being such good ball players, and uh, so I think De Gea being a fantastic shortstop. I mean, we saw against Liverpool, again against Southampton, the way he made those couple of saves in the death of the match. to keep it 1-0 and to seal the 3 points. I think David De Gea's shot stopping skills are too good, and his quick reflex saves even after all these years. I think he's one of the best shot stopper in the world.
Absolutely. Michael is asking the question whether Barca are going to sign Marcus Alonso, but so far Barca doesn't want to sign Marcus Alonso, is what I feel, because the Balde has been doing a decent job for them on the left hand side, and Jordi Alba, they've got him as well. They've not really sold him, so they wouldn't really go for Marcus Alonso. But then Marcus Alonso with Marcus Alonso, what you get is a very progressive, very attacking left back choiceable, but his defensive rate is definitely questioned at this point. Balde has done a half decent job so far against Marriott and also against Sociedad as well. He did a very good job, and he's been linking up pretty well with Lewandowski as well. So it's good signs for Barcelona in terms of their left back choice, but they definitely would want to go with the right back. I think they're definitely in the market to look for a right back because they are looking for options. With Dest not being in best of forms, and Sergio Roberto has been one player who they've tried as well. But one player also they've been trying to fit in something like Araujo or a Kunde in right back position because they are predominantly centre backs as well. So that's one position they will be looking at. We've got Abhishek asking a very interesting question. I mean, Eric Ten Hag benching Ronaldo. We did speak about Eric Ten Hag making some big calls, but do you see that being in a positive side? Because with Ronaldo, what he gets is a huge figure, and it's not easy to bench him. So, do you see this continuing until the end of the season? Ronaldo being benched, or will Ronaldo be used in somewhere like Europa League, for example?
I think Ronaldo is bound to stay now. I think hopefully it's just 2 days to go. I hope that yeah, we do have many matches tonight. Aisha, we have Chelsea, Southampton. We've got Leeds versus Everton, and we even tomorrow we have Manchester City taking on Nottingham Forest,
Yeah,
and Arsenal taking on Villa, West Ham taking on Tottenham, Liverpool, Newcastle. We have all the match day today, and Thursday night we have Man United taking on Leicester City, which is the big game.
yeah.
This weekend we'll have Jamie Vardy facing off against United. So it's going to be a fun game week, and I am pretty excited, to create my teams on the Boomer 11 app, and
Yeah,
can't wait to win coins and
yeah.
redeem some nice prizes.
I'm gonna for the once you've joined us, do subscribe to our channel. But I'm gonna give you some surprise out here, guys. If you haven't already made your team for Asia Cup is happening. There's a huge opportunity for you. Create five teams for five different matches, and you can be a part of a raffle system where five lucky winners will get gold coins worth 2 grams. So you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. Get onto the app right now today. Afghanistan are taking on Bangladesh in a couple of hours time, so it's a huge opportunity for you to win. And tomorrow, India are taking on Hong Kong as well. So some of the exciting games ahead. So this is your opportunity. Make your team right now on Boom 11. The link is in the bio. You can download the app. And this season of sports is all going to be fun with Boom 11. And we are going to be there analyzing every match and helping you to win with some fantasy tips and a lot more options as well. And I'll ask you an interesting question. Now, if you have to create a fantasy team, if you have to make a proper fantasy team for this game week, right? Who will you have in your fantasy team? Because if you have to choose a striker, who are you really looking for from this week?
Which game? Sorry, which match, Abel? For which match?
I'm just taking from generic, from any of the game, one striker who's going to have a terrific game week this time around.
No brainer, man. I think it's Erling Haaland.
Okay. I mean, it's going to be interesting because Erling Haaland, for me, I like Mitrovic as well because he's been pretty underrated. And if you have to really win fantasy contest, Mitrovic can be one option because everybody's going to have Erling Haaland, but
I mean,
Mitrovic
that's
can
a
be
quite
one.
a wild prediction for Golden Boot, Mitrovic.
Yeah,
But I think definitely Mitrovic has been fantastic last season as well in the championship. And,
yeah,
so about the
yeah,
cricket match. So we have Bangladesh versus Afghanistan in a couple of hours, right?
yeah. We have Bangladesh taking
Yeah, and
Afghanistan,
that
and
that too counts. In the gold coin giveaway,
yeah,
if you create five teams for any five Asia Cup matches, you automatically enter a raffle draw for five gold coins of 2 grams each. So do create your team and participate in this giveaway. No matter what your score is, you still enter the raffle. So that's a good thing for everyone.
absolutely, absolutely, and there is no doubt that this is the opportunity to really hit big. And why do you want to miss out on that opportunity when you're getting for absolute free of cost? Before we end it, let's talk about Liverpool and we end it because they're right now on a climb. How can this 9-0 victory help them going ahead in the season? Because so far they have got so many injuries. Van Dijk form is something which we discussed already about. They're definitely losing Sadio Mane as well, but can we actually see Liverpool resurge back in the top four? Because at
Of
this
course, of
point,
course,
it looks very topsy turvy
definitely.
for them.
I think once Fabinho, even Thiago, we haven't seen much of him yet, but I'm sure once they get into a rhythm and these players start to play day in and day out, this squad is back up and running. And even without them, you can never write Liverpool off. Even Harvey Elliott, as you saw, they were so good. Even Luis Diaz, scoring 2 goals. I mean, it was unbelievable what they did for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Gabriel Jesus for Golden Boot is right there. He's had such a huge impact for Arsenal this season, and him linking up with Martinelli and Saka, that trio looks super scary alongside Odegaard, isn't it? We've already talked about it, but
I think
what do you?
Alan Salah and Harry Kane. I think Alan Salah and Harry Kane have much more likelihood of winning the Golden Boot. For me, these three are the top men for the Golden Boot. Once you can't write off Mo Salah as well. He might not have started with a fury of goals, but he's already got 2 goals already. So I think. You cannot write off even as Abhishek rightly said. Gabriel Jesus, he has had a good start to the season, but we've seen with Gabriel Jesus in the past, with Manchester City when he's really failed to capitalize on some of the chances, and he's really more of a wide man at times. So yeah, it remains. I mean, we'll have to wait and
I mean,
watch
with
what
City, the thing
happens.
is that City never wanted a number nine. So Gabriel has to play on the right hand side, Gabriel has to play on the left hand side, Gabriel has to actually play deep as well in numerous occasions. So he was not an out and out target man. But in Arsenal, he's usually a target man by Arteta, and he's fitting right into that system. And now you're seeing a huge potential of Gabriel Jesus. And now this being a World Cup year, he alongside Vinicius Junior, Neymar are possibly going to start for Brazil as well. So it's going to be very interesting Brazil team to watch out for. We'll be talking about the World Cup later on. My prediction is Arsenal winning Premier League and PSG winning UCL. Big call.
That's a big
Big
call.
call. Massive call. I mean, Arsenal so far looks very good. PSG looking very good in League One as well. But then still very early days, isn't it? Your thoughts? Can Arsenal really win the Premier League? Do they have it in them to win it?
I think defensively they need some work still, but I think the way they've started, really, really positive. I don't really think they can win the Premier League. I think we still have quite a bit of season to go. And again, Arsenal, they don't have the depth, the likes of City, the kind of depth like City have, or even Tottenham for that matter this season, and the big clubs as well. So I think Arsenal will have to really really carry on this form till the end of the season, and I don't think that is something which is very likely. Sorry to
Absolutely.
say, but
Absolutely. I mean, it's
I
tough.
don't
It's
agree with
tough at the
Arsenal
playing
winning the
point,
league.
right? Because we've got a lot of Arsenal fans as well joining in. Spurs winning the league. Come on, you Spurs. Yes. We've got North London fight and rivalry already happening on the chat box. Um, I mean,
I
as
think
we spoke last,
Spurs will finish above Arsenal. I'm also going to make a wild one here. I'm going to stir some shit up in the North London derby. I think Spurs will definitely finish above Arsenal this season.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, football comes with but I like to play cricket. But it's okay. I mean, we are going to bring you football, cricket, and all the sports. So just stay tuned, Aisha. I mean, it's
Yeah, we
very
do have a cricket podcast, cricket live coming as well tonight after the Bangladesh Afghanistan game, right? Abel, you'll be on
yeah,
it, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Get ready for that because we're going to be bringing fantasy prediction for tomorrow's game as well. So we're going to predict in the 11 of India versus Hong Kong and also fantasy prediction for tomorrow. So do not miss out on that. Watch the entire live. It's going to be a huge one. And it's going to be a big match for Afghanistan because if they win, they're into the Super 4 and Bangladesh will be playing a knockout against Sri Lanka. So Asia Cup is getting super exciting in the Group B. In Group A, it's pretty much simple. There's Hong Kong, India, and Pakistan, and everything is designed for India and Pakistan to meet this Sunday once again. So let's wait for that. But yeah, before that, as you spoke about Spurs, one player apart from Harry Kane who was really impressed with this season in Spurs is it Dejan Kulusevski or is it someone like is it there also they've got someone who has had a very good season like Reguilon has gone to Atletico Madrid. They've got now if you talk about Henmin Son, he had a very good season last time around.
Absolutely.
Can this be the
Joint
season?
Golden Boot winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Henry Song was a golden boot winner last time around. They've got the defensive back. They've got Richarlison who's there. They've got a complete set, right? Who's there? They've got a backup. They've got Perisic on the left wing back side, and now can they really go on to do well? Because in Antonio Conte's system, we've always seen wing backs being used pretty well. We're seeing that this season as well. Now, if they have an injury in the strikers end, can Richarlison really fill up the boots of someone like Harry Kane and also someone like Heung-min Son? Because it's never easy to fill
I
those
think
boots.
Richarlison has really cemented the front three. For Spurs, they had that one really attacking threat missing. Of course, they had Lucas Moura, but again, he's not the fastest. I mean, no offense to Lucas Moura, he's a great player. But I think Richarlison, at least he started really
Let's
well.
also mention Højbjerg. You know, Højbjerg has had a very good season so far. I mean, and in the midfield, he's really controlled the game
Of
in the
course,
last 3 games. He's been such a pivotal character for them as well. So, has Spurs got it in them to actually finish top four or at least top two? Because they finished top two
really,
quite a lot of times.
really tough. Really tough, to call. But I think Spurs this season, they will definitely, challenge really hard for the top four and even maybe the title.
Maybe, yes, absolutely. And that's going to be very interesting to see where Spurs end up at the end of the season. Thank you guys for joining in. I mean, we're going to end the live right here. It was pleasure taking all your questions. We have a lot of people joining in today, so it was wonderful to interact with you people. I hope you all join later tonight as well. And also, we're going to be having an elaborate discussion very soon after game week 5. And also, UCL draws is something which we're going to talk about because it's been an exciting week. Some interesting tables out there in the UCL, and UCL is going to start in a couple of weeks' time as well. So get ready for that. It's a full-on packed season of sports with cricket, football, and much more as well. So you can enjoy all this Boomer 11. Make your teams right now for Asia Cup and also for tonight's plans. Because Chelsea are taking on Southampton, so do not miss out on this. And as I mentioned about the raffle draw, make 5 teams for Asia Cup for 5 different matches and be a part of a raffle system where you have a chance to win 2 grams worth gold coin. Anahat, your thoughts to end up.
No, I think, as you said, really good days for sports now. This year, especially, I think it's fantastic for both cricket and football. And, I for once can't wait, to keep making my team for all the big games and see how much coins I can win. And, I keep redeeming them on the redeem section for all my favorite brands. So I'm really enjoying that. Enjoying, how Boomer 11 has really, made sports so exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely. The link is in the bio, guys. Click on it and have a good night of sports because tonight is a huge night because with Bangladesh, Afghanistan, as also mentioned, the Premier League action right there. Thank you all for joining in. Bye bye. Take care.